Okay. Good evening and welcome. This is a regular meeting of the Princeton Planning Board on Thursday, March 5th, 2026. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the resolution of regularly scheduled meetings of this planning board for February 2026 through January 2027. A copy was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on January 14, 2026. Legal notice on the adoption of said resolution was published in the January 16, 2026 edition of the Princeton Packet. Notice of this meeting has also been posted to the municipal website, princetonnj.gov/calendar. Notice that all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Planning Board will be held electronically. Zoom was transmitted to the Princeton Packet and the Times and was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on Tuesday, January 14, 2026. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. During hearings on applications for development, members of the public will have an opportunity to comment and ask questions. We don't have any applications on the agenda tonight, but we will take comments if the public has them related to the ordinances, although this is not the hearing for the ordinances. Sorry to confuse things. I'm going to continue with the opening statement and we'll go back to that when we're voting on ordinances. Those wishing to comment orally should virtually raise your hand by clicking on the reactions or raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or if participating by phone, by pressing *9. Oral comments will be taken in the order in which hands were raised. We ask with respect that members of the public express your views in 3 minutes or less. A countdown clock on your screen will help speakers keep track of time. Please note that speakers who exceed 3 minutes will be interrupted. Inappropriate public comment containing obscenity, hate speech, or relating to matters not before the board will be muted. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Mr. Boddingheimer?
Present.
Councilman Cohen?
Present.
Mayor Frida?
Here.
Ms. Nuka? Mr. McGowan?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Ms. Perlmutter? Ms. Swimmer?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Wilson Anderson?
Here.
Chair Wilson, I'm sorry.
Here. Thank you.
You have a quorum.
Thanks very much. Next up, we have announcements. Justin, anything from you, or, and if not, any other board members?
Madam Chair, no, I do not have any announcements. I did just receive an email from Ms. Perlmutter, so I'm going to send her my link so she could join us.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't have any announcements either. I'm not seeing anybody waving at me, so we will move on to subcommittee reports. And I don't think we have any of those either. So let's move on to minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes from regular meetings. The first set is from July 17th, 2025. Are there any suggested edits or questions?
Madam Chair, I know that you had a few edits that you had requested. Did you want to read those into the record, or should
I don't. First of all, I know I had suggestions for 2 sets of minutes. I think this was one of them.
It was, yes.
But I don't remember exactly. So if you do, then yes, I would like them read into the record. And if not, I can find the email that I sent.
I am pulling them up right now.
Okay.
I should have them. Yes, I have them. So if you want me, I can go ahead and take care of that.
Thank you.
All right. So the 2 requested or suggested edits are as follows. On page 8, the last paragraph, change the sentence stating Chair Wilson stated that skip laurel is a non-native plant that grows rapidly if not maintained. She suggested that The applicant consider replacing Skip Laurel with Inkberry glabra, as it is a shorter and more native shrub. The suggested edit is to say, quote, she suggested that the applicant consider replacing Skip Laurel with Inkberry Ilex glabra, as it is a shorter native shrub. So that's the first edit or change. And then on page 11, the last sentence, omit the word this. So it reads, quote, announced that the hearing of this application will be postponed, end quote. And those are the only two edits.
If I was omitting this, it said this, so I said omit this so that it says the hearing or whatever.
Okay.
There was an extra word it was just a typo kind of thing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate you catching that. So those
Yeah.
edits will be made by tomorrow, and those minutes will be ready if adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So with those edits, and I'm sorry that I didn't add up my own fingertips here, would have been easier. Would someone like to move those minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan, and Councilman Cohen, you're
Second.
seconding? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And next up, we have minutes from January 8th, 2026. I think I also had minor edits to this. Is that correct, Mr. Foote?
What was the date
or
on? What was the date on these?
January 8th.
Yes, there are a couple of suggested edits. And
And
let's
they
see.
are,
All right, let me pull them up. Let's see here. Under announcements on page 3, the sentence, quote, Chair Curry Wilson shared her adoration for Ms. Capizoli. Change that to Chair Wilson shared her admiration for Ms. Capizoli and appreciation for her service, end quote.
adoration is not too strong a word, but I'm pretty sure I didn't use it.
Whatever you
So,
feel comfortable with.
Thank you for that.
Should avoid
Other
that.
edit I asked for in those minutes, because there's been some confusion. I asked that my name for signatures and such show as Louise Curry Wilson, including my original surname, but I don't need to be referred to during meetings as Chair Curry Wilson or in the minutes as Chair Curry Wilson. So I just wanted to make that clear in these minutes too. And sorry for any confusion that I caused. With those edits, would someone like to move these minutes?
I'll move them.
Thanks, Owen. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Claudia. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And next up we have
And sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make
course.
the I guess it's a late announcement that with the adoption of those minutes, we are caught up. So we have
not quite, because
not quite.
we
have
still have February 5th, 2026 right now.
Oh, apology. You know what? I
And
jumped the gun on
then,
that.
and then we will be caught up. But yes,
I was
mean,
overly excited. I apologize.
Don't blame you for that, because it is very exciting.
And kudos,
Minutes of February 5th, 2026.
yeah, and kudos to the staff. That took a lot of work.
It was a ton of work, and as someone who has done many minutes in previous lives, it is a slog. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So yeah. Minutes of February 5th, 2026. Any edits or suggestions? And if not, would someone like to move them?
I'll move them.
Thank you. David, is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Claudia. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And just, I know I've said this before, but the reason I don't ask for abstentions is because if you weren't at the meeting, you're automatically listed as abstaining. Okay. And now we are caught up.
And yes, and now,
Th-
Madam Chair,
Thank
we
you,
are caught up.
Nathan. Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Tyrone. And who did I miss? I probably missed
Yeah,
someone. Anyway,
that's everyone who's been involved with the minutes since I've joined. So I think you covered everyone.
okay. Next up, we have a resolution about the application of Cannondale Elm Club. This was preliminary and final major site development with variances at Cannondale Elm Club at 21 Prospect Avenue, block 49.01, lot 3.01, zone E2B. And it's file number P2525-692P. Any questions or issues from Jerry or Justin? Nope, not seeing any. Would someone like to move this resolution?
I move this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. And a second? Thanks, Freddie. Seconded by Freddie Perlmutter. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. I just want to note that we did have a few people absent when we heard the application last meeting. Those members are Councilman Cohen, Mayor Frida, Ms. Nuka, and Mr. O'Donnell. So I will not be calling them for the roll.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Boddinghammer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next, we have a series of ordinances. The first, ordinance referrals for master plan consistency. The first is ordinance 2026-08, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton, amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 16, AH16, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Justin, you want to speak to this? Or Nathan, is that what?
Yes,
good.
so Justin is
Okay.
taking a well-deserved break from these ordinance presentations.
Okay.
So I will be presenting these this evening and answering questions. Justin is here in case there are questions about development of the ordinances that I'm not able to answer, but hopefully I'll be able to carry this through. So with that said, I'm just going to share my screen now so that's done. Share that. Okay. Let's see. So can everybody see the overhead image?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Madam Chair. What I'll start with is just reiterating what Justin discussed during the previous two meetings. This is the third and final of three meetings where the board will be reviewing fourth round affordable housing ordinances for master plan consistency. These ordinances set up by our fourth round housing element and fair share plan are required to be adopted before the March 15th deadline that was set up by the state for us to adopt all the ordinances related to the fourth round. Of course, I'll note here that this doesn't preclude amendments to these ordinances being made after March 15th if such amendments are determined to be necessary by council. The ordinances before the board tonight are for 4 rezonings, 1 overlay district, all of which are intended to allow for the realistic opportunity for the construction of affordable housing. The final ordinance the board will review is for the replacement of Article 12, entitled Affordable Housing of Chapter T10B of the Municipal Code. The board's task tonight, as it has been during the last two meetings, is to review the ordinances for consistency with the adopted master plan, which does include the fourth round housing element and fair share plan, which for the sake of brevity, I'll refer to as the fourth round HEFSP from here on in. Regardless of your determination of consistency, these ordinances will go to the council for hearings at their next meeting on March 9th. So I'll turn now to the first ordinance that the board is reviewing, that Chair Wilson has already introduced, and will summarize the memo I wrote dated February 27th, 2026. Ordinance 2026-08 establishes the Affordable Housing District 16, AH16, for 2 lots at 13 Chestnut Street, these being block 30.02, lots 39.01 and 39.02. And you can see them in the 2 reddish shades on the screen. It's these 2 properties here. The ordinance was originally introduced to council on February 9th and was going to be reviewed by the board on February 19th. However, the council reintroduced the ordinance with several substantive changes on February 23rd, which we were aware of before the board's February 19th meeting, hence why it was not reviewed at that time. So this map, again, is the overhead image of the site. This is from Appendix O of the 4th round HEFSP. The properties subject to the rezoning are developed with a vacant building that used to house a branch of the Princeton Fire Department. This building includes 2.5 stories toward the front of the property and a 1-story addition that was added later to the rear of that building. And there is a paved parking area in the rear. You can't really see it from this image. It looks like CCH did not put the opacity up on this image, and so we can't really see below that these 2 red shades, but you'll just have to trust me that that's what's there. Both properties are located in the R4 residential zone of the former borough and are also in the Affordable Housing Overlay 1, AHO1. The properties are adjacent to residential uses to the north and to the west across Chestnut Street. Lot 39.01 borders a residential use to the south, beyond which are mixed commercial and residential uses along Nassau Street. Down here, that's Nassau Street, and I should mention that this is Chestnut Street going north-south. To the east are commercial and residential uses. Now, to the ordinance itself, it requires a 100% affordable housing development consisting of a minimum of 16 units and an accessory publicly accessible community room on the ground floor fronting Chestnut Street. Residential units are permitted on all floors. So I also wanted to share this this page from the appendix from the 4th round HEFSP. This is not the concept plan. This is not what the ordinance is based on. There were later changes to this concept plan, but it is roughly showing what is intended for this site. So this here is the 2.5-story front facing portion of the property that is more historic. This is not showing the 1-story addition to the rear because that is not intended to stay. But the 2.5-story portion that fronts along Chestnut Street that was a firehouse building must be retained and adaptively reused per the ordinance. The 1-story addition in the rear of the building can be removed. The ordinance permits a maximum height of 4 stories and 48 feet. Maximum impervious coverage is 90%. Side yard setbacks are required, but provided in such a way that permits some portions of the building to reach the side property line. And that's intended to get this effect of having these little step backs of the building from that side property line. That would be to the north. One thing I will say is that in my memo, there was a recommendation regarding the length of individual projections in the setbacks. This has already been done in the amended ordinance that was reintroduced at council. Half a parking space is required for each residential unit, with up to 50% of spaces allowed to be designed as compact spaces. Landscaping buffers of minimum 3 feet are required where side and rear yards are required and not needed for circulation. So in my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. It is, of course, called for in the municipality's adopted fourth round HEFSP. It also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms for different income levels. It meets a land use goal of the plan to enhance the existing pattern of land use, particularly by strengthening mixed use centers in town. This is close to Nassau Street. Additionally, it meets mobility goals of the plan to include reducing inbound commuting and encouraging shifts from single occupancy vehicle to low or zero emissions mobility options, such as walking, cycling, and transit. Utility goals and natural resource conservation goals, such as accommodating future growth while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment, are supported by repurposing an already developed parcel. So I will turn it back to you, Madam Chair, for any questions and discussion from the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foote. Any questions from board members? Mr. Cohen?
Not a question, but I think the master plan somewhere talks about preserving neighborhood character as a goal as well. And I just wanted to emphasize that preserving that existing firehouse that's fronting on Chestnut Street, we felt was very important and part of what makes it a good project. So.
Wholeheartedly. Thank you for that. Jack?
I just wanted to add my support. That's exactly the position that I was about to take. When we talk about compatibility, consistency with the master plan, the issues that we've laid out are obviously appropriate. But one of the issues that comes up over and over again is the consistency of neighborhoods, maintaining the image, maintaining, if you will, the feeling for Princeton. And the suggestion is always made, somehow you're talking about progress, stack houses, townhouses, multiple units, things that don't sound like they're in the image. And so I think it would be good public relations as well as make sense if we took David Cohen's point or the issue of image or feeling whenever we're talking about key principles of Princeton. I think that would be in the best interest of the board and its image, and it also makes sense to do so.
Thank you, Jack. Freddie Perlmutter?
Yeah, I actually have a question for Jerry. Jerry, I was on the board of PCH for a fair number of years, but I got off about the time that I joined planning board. So I've been off it now for about 2 years or so. Can I vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thoughts from board members before I invite comments from the public? Okay, we have 6 members of the public here now. I'll just repeat something I started to say earlier. This is not a hearing on this ordinance. It is a review the board does for consistency with the master plan, but we do invite and welcome comments from the public if there are thoughts you'd like to share. And the formal hearing on these ordinances will take place before council a little later this month. Do we know what date that is?
The 9th. It's this coming Monday.
On the 9th. Okay, great. Thank you. So any members of the public want to address the board? Now's the time to virtually raise your hand. And I am not. Oh, there we go. Ed Truselli, would you bring him over, Nathan, or Justin, or Tyrone, or whoever is in charge of transfers? Welcome, Mr. Truselli. We'll need to, there you go. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Mr. Swear you in, even though this is not a formal public hearing, because that's what we do. Go ahead, Jerry.
Ed, if you could raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give me the truth?
Yes, I do.
So sworn or affirmed.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the Planning Board. I just want to express on behalf of Princeton Community Housing and our Board of Trustees our great excitement for this project for many of the reasons David and Mr. Taylor mentioned, David Cohen and Mr. Taylor mentioned, we are very excited to work collaboratively with the community and the municipality to make this happen and provide some more homes in a wonderful town that Princeton is. And we just wanted to express our appreciation. So thank you.
Thank you. And back at you. We appreciate your work personally and the work of your organization. It's good for the town.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other members of the public wish to address the board? Now is the time to virtually raise your hand. Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public comment part of this ordinance review and invite any final thoughts or a motion on this ordinance. Presumably a motion to find the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend approval to council.
I will move that we find the motion substantially consistent with the master plan and move it to council.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Who would
Second.
like to second? Thanks, Mr. McGowan. Ms. Battle, will you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next up, we have ordinance 2026-11, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter T10B entitled Land Use of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 13, AH13, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Mr. Foote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I'll share my screen at the start so I don't have to fiddle with it in the middle of the presentation. All right, and that should be sharing an overhead image of the site. And if anybody can't
We
see it,
can
just let
see
me
it.
know. Okay,
Yes.
very good. So as with the last ordinance, I'll summarize the memo I wrote. This one also dated February 27th, 2026. Ordinance 2026-11 establishes the Affordable Housing District 13, AH13, for two lots at 1133 State Road and 60 Mount Lucas Road, these being block 7004, lots 1 and 2. The ordinance was introduced to council on February 23rd and will have a public hearing at council next Monday, March 9th. So this is the map that was included in the memo. This is Appendix L of the fourth round housing element and fair share plan. The properties subject to the rezoning are currently developed with commercial buildings. Lot 1 is developed with a bank building with a drive-through that you can see at the very southern end of the lot, a 2-story medical office building, and a 1-story commercial building. I will note that there is a slope running through the center of the property that does make it look like a shorter building from the Mount Lucas side of the property. Lot 2 is developed with a 3-story office building that also has that shorter look because of the slope from Mount Lucas Road. Both properties have parking areas and both are located in the B2 business zone of the former township. Lot 2 is adjacent to a shopping center to the north. To the east, west, southeast, and further north of the property are residential uses that you can see on the overhead image as well. And then to the south are municipal uses. The first of which you come across going south is the Princeton First Aid and Rescue Squad building, and then beyond that is the municipal building. The ordinance permits up to 82 dwelling units and requires a comprehensive development of the site that will include multifamily residential units above the ground floor or street level, townhouses along Mount Lucas Road, retail sales and services and restaurants, of which there must be a minimum 2,500 square feet of floor area on the street level facing State Road, and offices, including medical offices and urgent care facilities, restricted to the ground floor and second story, of which there must be a minimum of 9,000 square feet of floor area. The ordinance requires a minimum set aside of 20% of residential units as affordable. with a minimum number of 16 units. And there was no concept plan included in the appendix with the fourth round HEFSP with this one. And that's why the overhead image, I'm just going to leave that up for now. The proposed ordinance permits a maximum height of 5 stories and 65 feet. I'll note that that's as measured from the state road curb line. And so that 65 feet is again, from the state road curb line. So from Mount Lucas Road, you're not actually getting the full effect of that 65 feet. There is an enclosed penthouse level for residential amenities with a maximum height of 11 and that's a rooftop, I should say, a rooftop penthouse level for residential amenities with maximum height of 11 feet that is permitted. Townhouses facing Mount Lucas Road are permitted a maximum height of 2.5 stories and 35 feet. Maximum impervious coverage is 95%. The ordinance requires 8/10 or 0.8 parking space for each residential unit, 1 parking space for each 400 square feet of retail sales and service, 1 parking space for each 5 seats in a restaurant, and 1 parking space for each 300 square feet of office space. Bicycle parking is required to follow the existing municipal code, and 25% of car parking in a parking structure may be compact spaces. The ordinance permits the following signs, and this is kind of a long list, so bear with me. 2 building-mounted multifamily identification signs, 4 office building identification signs, including 1 facade sign and 3 canopy-mounted signs, 1 single-sided facade sign identifying the multifamily building lobby entrance along Mount Lucas Road, 1 canopy-mounted sign and 1 projecting sign per retail tenant, 1 canopy-mounted sign along Mount Lucas Road, and 2 building-mounted parking garage entrance signs, 1 facing State Road and the other facing Mount Lucas Road. And again, I probably should have mentioned this, but this is Mount Lucas Road and this is State Road. You can kind of see the lettering there, but that is saying State Road on that side, and that is Mount Lucas Road on the other eastern side of the properties. One other thing I'll also mention, because I forgot to with the last ordinance review, is that any site plans, any development plans that arise for this set of properties out of this rezoning would need to come before the planning board for review, for a site plan approval. In my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. It is called for in the municipality's adopted 4th round HEFSP. It also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms for different income levels. It meets mobility goals of the plan to include reducing inbound commuting and encouraging shifts from single occupancy vehicle travel to low or zero emissions mobility options. Utility goals and natural resource conservation goals are also met, such as accommodating future growth while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment. And with that, I will wrap that up and turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nate. Thanks. Comments from board members? David?
I'm going to make a similar comment to the last ordinance in that the townhouses that are along Mount Lucas that are in closest proximity to the single-family residential are quite modest at 2.5 stories and 35 feet in height. That's essentially exactly the same bulk of zoning that's permitted in the single-family district there. So the buildings won't, be towering over the neighbors across the street or anything like that. And again, just a nod to preserving neighborhood character while we meet our housing needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And I just want to mention, I certainly am not suggesting that there be any changes to the ordinance to reflect this, but when the site planning is done for this property, I just think given the proximity of that really tough intersection situation there at Mount Lucas and 206 and whatever all the other roads are named in that immediate vicinity, and even Terhune, we need to look really, really careful, keen attention to detail for pedestrian safety, and pedestrian amenities, because that's a pretty dicey intersection right now if you're on foot. And with more people living there, it'll be more so. So, or put more people in the intersection, hopefully. So just wanted to mention that, and maybe also with some attention to extra soundproofing, because a lot of people, 206 carries a lot of truck traffic, and when they are going up, through that stoplight and up the hill, it can get pretty noisy. That's all. Other comments from board members or thoughts before I invite public comment? Okay. If you are here as a member of the public and wish to address the board, now is the time to virtually raise your hand to indicate you would like to do so. I'm not seeing any hands go up, so I'll close the public comment and invite any final thoughts from board members or a motion. Presumably that motion being to find this ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend its approval to Princeton Council. Mr. Cohen? So moved?
Yes, I move that we find this ordinance consistent with the master plan and recommend approval to council.
Second.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Bodenheimer. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Bodenheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes. Can you hear me? I lost my
Yes.
camera.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next up, we have ordinance 2026-12, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 17, AH17, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Nathan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And once again, I will share my screen at the beginning. All right, there we go. I'm going to assume that that is up.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Okay, very good. Thank you again, Madam Chair. So I will once again summarize the memo. This one was also, surprisingly enough, dated February 27th, 2026. Ordinance 2026-12 establishes the Affordable Housing District 17, AH17, for a single lot at 27 North Harrison Street, this being block 32.01, lot 167. The ordinance was introduced to council on February 23rd and will have a public hearing at council next Monday, March 9th. So this overhead image is from Appendix L of the fourth round HEFSP. It is a municipally owned lot that is developed with a two-story building that used to house a branch of the Princeton Fire Department, but is currently utilized by the Princeton Department of Public Works as a maintenance facility, which is intended to be relocated to Princeton's River Road property. And that, I'll just mention, has been included, that idea has been included in the Princeton Master Plan elements dating back to 1996-97. The lot is located in the R3 residential zone of the former borough and is also in the Affordable Housing Overlay 2, AHO2. The property is adjacent to the Queenston Commons residential development to the north and east. To the west and northwest of the property are residential uses. To the south are a mix of commercial uses, offices, and retail along the Nassau Street corridor. The lots immediately south of the subject property are part of a different site, the Whole Earth site, that is also listed in Princeton's fourth round plan. And I believe that one, that ordinance was reviewed by the board at the last meeting on February 19th.
That's correct.
So this ordinance, much like the first one we saw tonight, requires a 100% affordable housing development consisting of a minimum of 34 units in this case, which can either be multiple dwellings or townhouses. And for those multiple dwellings, residential units are permitted on all floors. The ordinance permits a maximum height of 3 stories and 36 feet within 25 feet of the front property line. So right about there, you would have no more than 36 feet or 3 stories. And for the remainder of the property, a maximum height of 4 stories and 48 feet is permitted. Maximum impervious coverage is permitted at 90%. Yard setbacks are required for the front, north side, south side, and rear or east side of the property. For the proposed ordinance, 1 parking space is required for each residential unit, and landscaping buffers of minimum 5 feet are required where side and rear yards are required. So once again, in my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. As with all of the rezoning ordinances, it is called for in the municipality's adopted 4th round HEFSP. It also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms for different income levels. It meets the land use goal of the plan to enhance the existing pattern of land use, particularly by strengthening mixed use centers in town. And again, this is along Nassau, this is near Nassau Street, at that corner of Nassau Street and Harrison Street, North Harrison. Additionally, it meets mobility goals of the plan to include reducing inbound commuting and encouraging shifts from single occupancy vehicle travel to low or zero emissions mobility options. Utility goals and natural resource conservation goals, such as accommodating future growth while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment, are supported by repurposing an already developed parcel. And I will also, again, I'll preempt the neighborhood character. That 25-foot set in that with that 25-foot 3-foot height being 3 stories and 36 feet, that helps to match those residential uses in the surrounding area, whereas that 4 feet and 4 stories and 48 feet further back with that setback, that helps keep the neighborhood character as it is with these, but with these changes, this development that will help enhance the housing for the municipality. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll turn it back over to you for questions and discussion.
Okay. Any questions from board members?
Yeah, can I ask one question? The memo
Sure.
says a minimum of 35 units, but I think we just heard 34. It also requires a unit for a super or site manager. So I'm just curious as to what the actual number is.
So let me just double check. Let me stop sharing my screen. But I know that there is a different site that has that requirement for the additional superintendent unit. But let me just double check that and make sure that we are on the same page here.
Oh, I might be reading the next one. I'm sorry. That could be.
Let me see.
No, wait a minute. Yeah. No, you know what? I jumped ahead. I
Are
opened
you
it-
are you looking at 13?
Yeah, I'm looking at 13. That's why.
Okay,
So-
Okay.
that's all right.
yep, 34.
Okay. Ms. Perlmutter.
Yeah, this is for Jerry again. I mentioned this last time too. I live in Queenston Commons, although not on this end of it. I live on the other end of it, but still I do live in Queenston Commons, and he mentioned that this abuts Queenston Commons. Can I vote?
Yep, same as last time.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh,
Last
I
time
thought
you
you
said I
said
couldn't.
she could not last
Yeah,
time.
last time you said no.
Yeah, last time I think you suggested she
Yeah.
recused because she
Right. I did.
is in the
Okay. Okay.
is in the complex, even though
Yeah.
it's
So
Okay.
if you want me to recuse again, but I'm clearly on the, pretty
Yeah.
far away from this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that recuse or not?
I think that's yes,
I'll
as you did last time, so
Just for
as to be
consistency, I'll
consistent.
It's a matter of caution. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll recuse. I'm not, yeah, I leave it up to you, but
okay.
All right, thanks for that. Any other questions or comments before I invite public comment? Any members of the public wish to address the board about this ordinance on North Harris, about the property on North Harrison? Seeing none, I will close the public comment, ask any final thoughts or invite a motion, presumably to find the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend its approval to council.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bodekheimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Taylor. Call the roll, please, Ms. Battle.
Sure. Mr. Bodenheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Schwimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now, ordinance 2026-13, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter T10B entitled Land Use of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 18, AH 18, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Nathan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And going to share my screen once again. Okay, there we go.
Good.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. So again, there's a memo dated February 27th, 2026. I will summarize that for the board. Ordinance 2026-13 establishes the Affordable Housing District 18, AH 18, for single lot 303 at 303 John Street, this being block 6902, lot 29. The ordinance, as with these other ones, was introduced to council on February 23rd, and we'll have a public hearing at council next Monday, March 9th. This map that was included in the memo is Appendix Q of the fourth round HEFSP. The municipally owned lot is developed with the Municipal Public Works Facility, which is also planned to be relocated to Princeton's River Road property. And as with the previous one, the Harrison Street facility is that has been a long-standing goal to have that relocation of the facility. The lot is located in the R9 residential zone of the former township. It is adjacent to the Community Park School property to the north. You'll notice this that John Street approaches this access road. This is not a public road. This is part of the Community Park School property. You have the parking area there, but that is all on the school property. That is not a public right-of-way. And I believe this board knows that from previous applications, but just wanted to emphasize that point, that the only frontage that this property has is along John Street, located here to the west.
Correct. And so just to add one thing, that driveway, the school driveway, is one way at that point toward the park, toward John Street. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. To the west across John Street are residential uses, actually to the southwest more so, and then due west and northwest is the Community Park South property. The John Street property that is being rezoned is also adjacent to the Princeton Packet building, which is located over to the east. And that is currently a multi-tenant commercial building. And to the south are additional residential uses. Turning now to the ordinance, it requires a 100% affordable housing development consisting of a minimum of 35 units. And this is what Mayor Frida was referring to a few minutes ago. There is a permitted unit for a site manager or superintendent as well. Dwellings can either be multiple dwellings or townhouses. There was, as part of the appendix, there were two concept plans that were included as part of that Appendix Q in the fourth round HEFSP. There were modifications made to these to make it to get us to the point where we could draft the ordinance, and that so that the council committee could draft the ordinance. But these are just illustrative of the possibilities for what the concepts that it could have turned into. So the ordinance permits a maximum height, and because of that, I'm just going to leave it on the overhead image. So the ordinance permits a maximum height of 3.5 stories and 45 feet. Maximum impervious coverage is 80%. Yard setbacks are required for the sides and rear. Per the proposed ordinance, 8/10 or 0.8 of a parking space is required for each residential unit. Bicycle parking is to be provided consistent with the existing municipal code, and landscaping buffers of minimum 3 feet are required where side and rear yards are required. And so finally, in my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. It is called for in the municipality's adopted fourth round HEFSP, unsurprisingly. It also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms and for different income levels. It meets mobility goals of the plan to include reducing inbound commuting and encouraging shifts from single occupancy vehicle travel to low or zero emissions mobility options. Utility goals and natural resource conservation goals are met, these being accommodating future growth while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment. And once again, the neighborhood character also, I think, comes into play with this one. Again, we have 3.5 stories, 45 feet. You do have the school to the north, and then the more lower density residential to the south and west. So it creates a nice transition from that school use and the public use with the park to those residential uses as well. And so with that, once again, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, for the board's questions and discussion.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from board members? Okay, seeing none, I will invite members of the public to raise your hand to speak if you would like to address the board. Virtually raise your hand now. Mr. Truselli has raised his hand, so can someone bring him over, please? Welcome back, Ed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, thank you to the members of the planning board. I just, again, want to appreciate, mention our appreciation for this opportunity. And again, the theme has come up with this ordinance as well. It's harmonizing what we do to provide more homes with the character of the neighborhood. And that's our endeavor with this opportunity as well. So again, just thank you for the chance to do this. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Invite any other thoughts from board members or a motion? Mr. Cohen.
I move that we find the ordinance consistent with the master plan and recommend approval, adoption to council.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
I saw you, Owen, but I think Ms. Schwimmer raised her hand a little faster.
Fine. That's absolutely fine.
Thank you, Linda. Seconded by Ms. Schwimmer. Deidre, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item E, ordinance 2026-14, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing Overlay District 19, AHO 19, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Nathan?
Sorry about that. The screen just froze for a moment. All right, so this one's a little bit different. There's no appendix to share, but I did want to give an illustration of where these properties are. There are 5 of them, so it's a little difficult to situate yourself with them. So I'm just going to share an overhead image from the New Jersey NJ Parcel Explorer website created by Rowan University. And with that, actually, hold on. I need to stop the share. over. I don't know why. All right. This is all right. If anybody needs an illustration, I will share it at after the presentation. For some reason, my screen is not cooperating with me on this one. So this we are in the home stretch. We've now come to the last affordable housing ordinance, which is for a zoning overlay as opposed to a rezoning. As with the previous four ordinances, I'll summarize the memo I wrote. This one also dated February 27th, 2026. Ordinance 2026-14 establishes the Affordable Housing Overlay 19, AHO 19 for 5 lots. These being 344 Nassau Street, 342 Nassau Street, 338 Nassau Street, 341 Nassau Street, and 343 to 345 Nassau Street. And to just let you know where those are located on all 4 corners of the intersection of Nassau Street and North Harrison Street. And once again, if anybody really wants the overhead image, I'll share it later, but just to give you an idea about where those are, that's at the intersection, all 4 corners of the intersection of Nassau Street and North Harrison. The ordinance was introduced at council on February 23rd and will have a public hearing at council next Monday, March 9th. All 5 of the properties are developed with historic buildings that are currently used for commercial spaces, mostly offices. The 344 Nassau Street and 343 to 345 Nassau Street properties are both in the NB neighborhood business zone of the former borough, while the 342, 338, and 341 Nassau Street properties are all in the RB residence business zone of the former borough. And all 5 properties are located in the Jugtown Historic District. All 5 lots are also currently in the Affordable Housing Overlay 2 or AHO 2. At page 42 of Princeton's 4th round Housing Element and Fair Share Plan, it is noted that, quote, AHO 2 will be modified in the 4th round to carve out properties in the Jugtown Historic District and create an additional overlay AHO 8 with distinct bulk standards compatible with the affected historic properties, end quote. And so while the overlay designation noted in the 4th round HEFSP is different, this being AHO 19 instead of AHO 8, the purpose of Ordinance 2026-14 is to carve out the Jugtown Historic District properties and create an overlay more suitable for the properties. The ordinance requires the retention of street fronting buildings in existence as of July 13th, 2022, which was the adoption date of the AHO 2 overlay. And no new construction is permitted on top of those buildings. That being said, the ordinance does permit the development of multiple dwellings above the ground floor or behind commercial uses on the ground floor or street level. It also permits townhouses, stacked townhouses, a combination of multiple dwellings and townhouse uses, and retail sales and services, offices, and restaurants on the ground floor, so long as the business faces on Nassau Street. At least 20% of any proposed residential units are required to be designated and restricted as affordable, hence why this is an affordable housing overlay. The ordinance permits a maximum height of 3 stories and 35 feet with a pitched roof required. The maximum impervious coverage is 80%. Yard setbacks are required for new buildings, the front yard, side yard, and rear yard. Landscape buffers to residential districts of minimum 15 feet are required. Per the proposed ordinance, no spaces are required for the first 5 residential units, with 1.1 parking spaces required for each unit in excess of 5 units. 1 parking space is required for each 400 square feet of retail sales and services, 1 for each 300 square feet of office space, and 1 for each 5 seats in a restaurant. Turning now to my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. It is called for in the municipality's adopted 4th round HEFSP, as I quoted from earlier. It also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms for different income levels. It meets the land use goal to enhance the existing pattern of land use especially in mixed use centers in town. Again, this is near the Nassau Street. Actually, it's along Nassau Street. Additionally, it meets mobility goals to include reducing inbound commuting and encouraging shifts from those single occupancy vehicles to low or zero emissions mobility options. And then there's also that goal of accommodating future growth while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment. And also again, the neighborhood character is also, that goal is also being met as a result of, again, you heard the height limitation, 3 stories, 35 feet. This is creating a buffer, a transition along North Harrison Street, or actually along Nassau Street, going up to the north and to the south of Nassau Street along these properties. And so with that, concludes that presentation, and I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Nathan. So I am interested in looking at the overhead again, and
Okay.
I gather that you can't see your notes and the
Right, that's
image at the
correct.
same time, maybe because
Yes,
you're
that's-
drawing from a different source. Yeah. So, but if you can see, if you can put it up there, and
I will do so. Yes.
okay,
I'll get that up here.
because I'm interested in how far. I understand we're talking about the properties immediately surrounding this intersection. So with your cursor, is it just the
Yes, so
4 properties, or is it the 6 or 7 that include the smaller pieces? See what I'm saying?
yes, yep, I see what you're saying. So it's only 5 properties, and it's
okay.
it's basically 1 for each corner, except for the northwest corner, which is the 2. The 2 closest to that intersection. So it's this property, that's 344 Nassau, these 2 properties, the one to the south, just the one to the south west, and the one to the southeast. So those are the 5 properties that will be subject to this overlay.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. Mr. Taylor?
Let me make a couple of general comments for what they're worth, not with recommendations for action, but recommendations for caution. During the master planning process, the issues of Judgetown came up more than once, and in a very sincere but also a deeply emotional, sometimes political way. There were also presentations before the board, which were lively, interesting, challenging. As a practical matter, this is one of the special historic areas in Princeton. And I don't suggest on the one hand that it cannot or should not be part of a development. But I would argue that this is not like the other ordinances because of the nature of the property. Just drive by and take a look. That's number one. But number 2, there is emotion here. And I can't imagine that any such development will not require conversation. So I think we ought to step back a moment, think about it, be very clear what the site development process means, be very clear whether we have the right wording in compliant with the master plan, consistent with. Well, I see already hands are up. So
yeah.
Let me provide, David, fire away.
Yeah, I just want to say that, Jack, this ordinance actually grew out of conversations that came from the pushback. So AH02, which was the overlay that applied to these 5 properties, as well as some other adjacent properties, allowed greater density, greater height, smaller setbacks, and so on. And we worked closely with planners and historic preservation advocates who are part of that Save Jugtown effort that you're referring to come up with this new set of rules for the properties that actually fall within the Jugtown Historic District. That's really the purpose of this ordinance, is to memorialize those conversations.
Is there any way, David, that the nature of this background and preparation, the judgments that you've reached, is there any way that could be included in the ordinance? When you read the ordinance, it sounds like the other ordinances. And to me, again, it's not. You've approached it that way as well. Can we frame the language in any way that suggests that we've really treated this somewhat differently without
I
creating
see Jerry leading in.
problems?
I think Jerry's going to give a legal opinion about that.
I think he is too.
Yeah, I don't think so, but certainly you can have as part of the file a memo which explains the genesis of the ordinance, which would be quite typical. And it could be available, it could be posted on the website and explain how the governing body came about the modifications to the ordinance that David has described. But I think that's the way to do it. I think putting it in the ordinance itself is
Perfectly fine, Jerry.
I think that's a good idea. I mean,
Needs to be done.
You know, from what you've described, David, is a best practice. You know, it's a it's an exercise in engagement and you know, making sure that we do things right, right way, right place. And so I'm grateful to you and the others that have participated in that. And I do think that it would be a really good idea to have the companion memo that Jerry described. Ms. Perlmutter?
Yeah, maybe I just need clarification, but did I hear that the affordable housing units would be on the ground floor?
They could be, but only behind ground floor commercial that fronts on Nassau Street. In other words, fronting on Nassau, you're not allowed to have residential unless, you know, there's one of these properties that actually has some open lawn next to it. It's on the southwest corner. And so there you could actually have residential even on the ground floor fronting on Nassau Street, but nowhere else because the existing buildings need to be retained and they need to be commercial.
All right, and these would be the affordable housing would be on the ground floor, or doesn't it have to be affordable or non-affordable?
It's inclusionary. It doesn't specify.
Yeah, it doesn't specify, and that would be part of the developer's decision about where to put the affordable units, and which would also be subject to review by the board.
All right, the reason I ask is this has come up before the Environmental Commission, and they've raised issues, and it's not just affordable housing, but you know, if you put it where there's parking, et cetera, there are fumes from cars and things of that sort, and some of them were just putting the affordable housing all on the bottom. So it's something that it sounds like you haven't gotten there yet, but it's something that also should be kept in mind, because I know if it comes before the Environmental Commission like that, they will raise the issue.
Yeah, and that again, yeah, and that will be something that if any developments come out of this overlay or use this overlay, those will be considerations that come before. Again, it'll go through the entire site plan review process, and will be can be reviewed by the board at that time.
And I also believe, Freddie, the fourth round state legislation actually forbids segregating the affordable units and inclusionary development, putting them in a less desirable location. I don't know the exact language, but that has been addressed at the state level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some of the exact language.
There's
several things, but that's one of the articulations.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks. Good talk. Other thoughts? Seeing none, I will invite members of the public. If you would like to address the board, now's the time to virtually raise your hand. I see, no hands going up. Okay. So back to the board for final thoughts or a motion to find this ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend to council its adoption, excuse me. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Is there a second?
Sure.
Thanks, Mr. Cohen. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. And finally, ordinance 2026-15, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter T10B entitled Land Use of the municipality of Princeton to address the requirements of the Fair Housing Act and the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls, aka UHAC, regarding compliance with the municipality's affordable housing obligations. Mr. Foote?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've come to the end. We have come to the last of the affordable housing ordinances, at least for the time being. This ordinance was introduced to council February 23rd. We'll have a public hearing at council next Monday, March 9th. This one is a bit different from the others, besides its length, which is 49 pages. It's the longest of the ordinances that we've reviewed, but hopefully this is my shortest presentation. The ordinance replaces Article 12, Affordable Housing, of Chapter T10B of the Municipal Code with a new Article 12, also entitled Affordable Housing. This new chapter is based on a model ordinance, which follows current UHAC and DCA rules and includes, among other sections, definitions, municipality-wide mandatory set-asides, affordable housing construction and design regulations, affordable housing program regulations, unit standards, income restrictions, administration, enforcement, and development fees. Much of the language of the ordinance is the same as exists currently in Article 12, but some of the details are different. In my professional opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. The update of the affordable housing chapter is directly called for on page 81 of Princeton's fourth round HEFSP, which states, quote, once DCA and HMFA finalize their rule proposals anticipated after June 30th, 2025, the municipality will prepare an updated fair share ordinance in accordance with court upheld COA's rules, DCA's proposed new regulations at NJAC 599, and UHAC's new 2025 regulations that are anticipated to be released shortly, end quote. Aside from being directly called for in the fourth round HEFSP, Ordinance 2026-15 is substantially consistent with other goals of the Princeton Master Plan. One of the key findings from community input in the introduction section of the plan is that Princeton needs more housing, especially at lower price points. The vision statement includes that Princeton will have housing ample and diverse enough to accommodate all who want to live here, and the Princeton of the future will be affordable to households of all income levels. Again, there are mandatory set-asides in the ordinance that help with that goal, but it also helps in the administration of the affordable units that are being required with all of the rezonings that have taken place, along with the affordable housing overlays that are going to be in place with this new round of ordinances and the ones that already exist. Like I said, this is going to be a short one. So thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thoughts? Questions? Seeing none from board members, are any members of the public wish to say anything about this final ordinance? Okay. Back to the board then. Would someone like to move this ordinance, finding it substantially consistent with it's about as consistent as you can get, since the master plan specifically called for this ordinance, but substantially consistent with the master plan, and recommending that council adopt it.
I'll move.
Thank you, Councilman Cohen. Is there a second? Who
Second.
would like to second? Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Deidre, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Frida,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen, before you move to adjourn, I do have one question. Does anybody have a sense of when the zoning map of the town will be updated to reflect changes that we've made in the past few months, couple of months? Because it's been a lot, and it's all good. I'm really, really glad, but I think it would be helpful. I see Justin Leslie.
Yeah, I saw Justin activate his
turned on
camera, so I
your-
think he's about to answer that.
When do you expect we'll have an updated zoning map?
We'll get to it next week once all these changes are made, and then there will probably not be any zoning changes in the foreseeable future. We just didn't want to have to do it a couple times.
Of course not. No, it's
Mhm.
important that every last one of them be adopted by council before anybody.
Please, Justin, don't say no more zoning changes in the foreseeable future, because I'm counting on zoning changes in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean years, not days, because it's felt like days for some of these.
Years are foreseeable.
That's true.
That's true. True enough. All right. That's all I got. Our next meeting is on March 19th. Hope to see everybody there, and take it away, Mr. Cohen.
I move that we adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks very much, everyone,
Good
and
night.
see you next time.
Night.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night.
You too.